Everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing another car video. I'm finding that these are actually pretty easy to make because I tend to, as as crazy as it may make me sound, I usually will kind of just talk out thoughts that I have about different topics anyway. So if I record them, then it seems like I'm a little less crazy, and I'm just doing it for YouTube videos, right? I'm not just talking to myself randomly. But anywho, so a thought I had as I was leaving my apartment and getting into my car, it was really that length of time, so about 100-some foot walk. I was thinking about progress and one way of thinking about it. So I forget where I was watching this or where I was listening to this, but I apologize for that kind of thing. There's some speed bumps in my apartment complex. But there are some strength standards, and it's like Silent Mike, or honestly, it doesn't matter where. But they're talking about this is where you should be after a year. It was Omar Esoff there, so sorry. No, I have a squirrel brain, especially after a long day at school. My brain becomes extra squirrely. But anywho, basically he said like after a year you could expect to be at this level, then after 2 years, and the different levels you expect to be at after years of training and training well with that. And he had different numbers, and it made me think of how I've progressed since I've focused on powerlifting, because I've always wanted to get stronger, but my focus was on athletics and sports and baseball in particular, and not on how much I could squat, how much I could bench, but how well I could perform at my given sport, which was pitching and throwing mostly, as well as hitting. That's obviously one that is critical to baseball as well. But once I started focusing on that, I think the biggest hurdle that I had to get over was developing consistent form that was good, and then it was the training practices and the protocols that added to that. So those two together, once they get matched to a certain extent, or once they get to a certain level, then I think the progress that you're able to make becomes more of like runaway progress. And that's where I thought of the title of this video, or at least somewhat near the title of this video, is that once you get to a certain level, and I think I'm kind of there now, is once you start doing a bunch of factors correctly. So you are lifting a lot, you're lifting with good form, you have good programming, you have good nutrition, you have all these things going for you, getting enough sleep, which I haven't done the last couple of days, but I'm going to get some extra sleep tonight. You do all these different factors, and it allows you to be more efficient with what you're doing with your time, and to be able to make more optimal progress with it. Because the different issues that I had as I was getting into lifting stuff more was the form, was the programming, was the nutrition, was all sleeping, and all these different things. And as those get in line, you start to be able to make extra progress with that. And as you start lifting more, your body just gets used to lifting more, so you're able to do even more, and you're able just to continually to build and build and build from that aspect. And then you just have the years of habit, the years of progress, so all those habits get more drawn in. So part of it's your body adjusting, but I think a big part of it is the difference of habits that people are able to develop. I mean, you lift for 2 or 3 years, you've been lifting for doing something for 2 or 3 years, you're going to become pretty skilled at it, especially if you're paying attention to it, you're trying to improve yourself, you're trying to do a number of things, you're going to get pretty good at it. And I think that once you're able to have that good programming, have that good form, the benefits that you get from the training are increased. You're able to get more out of when you do a squat session because your form isn't breaking down. Your back isn't rounding on the deadlift, so you're able to get more out of it with it. And you know how to correct those things when they happen. So you're able to get more out of every little training session, that it has a cumulative effect with it. And as your form gets better, you have less likelihood of getting injured and being beat up as much. I mean, if you lift a lot, you probably have a tendency just to be beat up in general. But what I found is that I'm able, like if my form stays good and I'm not going above and beyond every workout, I'm able to just generally do more and more and more as far as just total amount of volume. One of the issues that I had when I was starting out is that you have that beginner's gain, so you want to be hitting that beginner's new maxes and rep PRs and different things like that, and that's good for a time. I mean, obviously people should push for those kinds of things, but once you start to plateau, or at least once those beginner gains start to go away, then that becomes more of a detriment than beneficial thing that you're experiencing, because if you're maxing out a lot, you're doing a lot of like really, really heavy singles with it, then you get to the point where you're just hurting yourself more than you are helping yourself, because it'd be more beneficial to do less weight and do it for more reps than to do a one heavy single where your form breaks down in that. And it's something, I don't know, I guess I won't ramble on for too much more because I don't want my phone to run out of space, but it was something that I've thought about, because you see a lot of people that like are stagnant, or at least, maybe I'll use myself as an example because I don't want to speak anecdotally about other people, but for myself, I was pretty stagnant for a while, but I feel like as I've gotten like more years under the bar, my progress has exponentially gone up. And obviously that won't stay true forever, or I'll be squatting 2,000 pounds, but because my form of the program and all the things got better, I'm able to just exponentially make better progress and to do better volume and to be more consistent more often with it, and just to perform better on a consistent basis. So I think that's something that beginners really need to focus on a ton, is form, as well as the programming that they have, getting the nutrition, eating, and just developing those habits of doing those things, of tracking your workouts, of videotaping and looking at your form, of doing all these things, getting enough sleep and eating enough food and doing all these things. Because then once you're able to do that and accumulate those habits, one, it becomes easier to do that habit, and two, you become better and better at doing those habits. You learn the nuances of the movements that you're doing, and so you're able to exponentially improve whatever movement that you're doing or whatever habit that you're trying to develop. Because one can just say, I'm going to sleep more, but if you've been sleeping well for 2 years, that's going to be a lot better than someone that just started last week, obviously. And the same with your form. Someone that's just starting out with the squat or deadlift or bench or whatever, any lift, they're going to have not the greatest form. That's just how it is, unless you're some freak. But not many people are motor skill developed at just random skills. I don't know if that's even possible. But when you first look at your form, you may think, oh, that's not too bad. But look at your form over a course of 2 years as you're trying to improve it, and the nuances. Sorry, I need to actually drive for a second. Once you look at the nuances and you're constantly looking at the nuances, then your form's going to slowly go up. But then you may see a big thing, and that could give you that could jump up really quick, or it could just be slow things over time. And it could be, I assume it's a similar thing with like physique and bodybuilding type stuff as well, because it's small changes over a long period of time have a big effect of your training and benefits and different things like that with it. Because I remember looking at my form, because I've been videotaping for so long now, that day to day, it wasn't as if I was making drastic changes or noticing drastic changes with my mechanics on different things, but trying different things and doing different things over a long period of time. Looking back over a year ago, even a couple months ago, even longer than, even more than months and more than a year, looking back, I'm just like, how did I not just go, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And like just think, this is garbage, this is horrible. But even if you see that, you see immediately like, oh, my form is terrible. Well, just try to improve little bits of it. Just knock out parts of it, because you can only do as much as you can do in that day. You're not going to build this beautiful bridge, use a metaphor or something, but you're not going to build a giant bridge in one day. You have to get each brick laid down before you can just get everything there. But you have to start getting those bricks, and you have to have a plan of what you want to look like, what you want the bridge to look like. So you have the picture out, you have the plans down, you have all this there. You just got to start just knocking away, start fixing things, pick the biggest thing that you need to work on and just continue to do it. And it's a process I don't think it will ever end. It's something that you need to continually do in every aspect of your life, whether it is lifting, whether you're looking at your squat mechanics, or squat or deadlift or whatever mechanics, whether it's your sleep, like what time am I going to bed, what time am I waking up, your habits, what do you do when you first wake up, what do you do to keep yourself organized, how do you do all these different things, all those little things you have to think about add up to not just lifting success, and this is more of just life success and just being productive in your everyday life, but looking at all those little things and trying to do a little bit more. Say you go to bed at 1 o'clock, 1 in the morning every night, and you want to go to bed at 10. Well, don't just go to, some people can't just go straight to 10 o'clock and just say, I'm going to bed at 10, and just start going to bed at 10. That's difficult to do. try going to bed at midnight, because then that seems a lot less daunting. You're not changing your schedule that drastically. I mean, it's 1 hour less, or even a half-hour increment, whatever increment you need to do, 15 minutes even. Do something like that and knock it back down until you get to the point where you want to be. And that's true for many different aspects. Is people try to make these big changes and stick to them, they don't work. You have to make small changes, and they add up over a long period of time. They're more able to be maintained. They're more noticeable in the long term. People want these like quick fixes for these different things, but it's a small things that will make big changes in your long term with that. And that's, as you start getting into that more and you start to see like, wow, I was here, now I'm here, then you're able to see that tangible evidence that it can actually work and it can actually do what it said, or what, you know, the idea manifests itself in different ways in your life. So then you're able to stay true to that more in newer aspects of your life. Because I know, looking at my squats now, I'm like, I'm happy with my form. There's not too much I need to work on, or bench, or whatever I'm looking at. I know there's stuff that I'm still trying to work on, but I know in a year or two, my form may not look entirely different, but it's probably going to look better than it does today. My bench form, my weightlifting form is going to change pretty drastically in a couple of years, I have a feeling. Simply because I'm not very good at it. And that's what's exciting about it. Because I know I'm not as efficient as I could be at those movements, but I know I'm working on them to the point where I'm going to become more efficient at them, because I'm just not going to accept where I am currently. And that's the same with every aspect of my life. Even my daily life, as far as my efficiency of how much stuff I accomplish every day. I know I can do more every single day, and I'm never satisfied with how much that I do. And I don't think I ever should be satisfied unless I'm doing 1,000 things somehow. But there's always something more that I know I can do. And there's always something, like there's 5 minutes I'm sitting down relaxing, which is not to say that that's a bad thing to do, ever. But there's always something more that I can do. It's not as if I'm like, well, that's all I could do. That's the best effort I gave. Maybe in a particular hour or a particular day or a particular situation that could be true, but not as far as an entire day or entire week or month or year. There's always more that you can do. And I don't think anyone's to the point where they're at 100% efficiency every single day, all day long, for everything that they do, for whatever they're doing. I don't think that's possible. And I wouldn't believe you if you said that there was someone, or that you were able to do that. So it's always getting to that point, and it's kind of like the speed of light. Speed of light's 100% efficiency. No one's ever going to get to the speed of light, but you can infinitely approach it. And maybe that actually sounded a lot better than I thought it was. But essentially, you never reach 100% efficiency, but you can keep getting closer and closer and closer. And as you get closer, if you're thinking in terms of the speed of light, you're getting faster and faster and faster. You're getting more and more and more and more efficient, and then you get to the point where it starts to decline when you get really older or whatever, or when you lose interest, or different variety of factors. But you're never going to get to that level, because there's always going to be something more that you can do. And you just think about it. I mean, what are you doing today that you couldn't do a little bit better? Just a little bit. Nothing drastic. Your lifting session that you just did. Could you have squatted just a little bit better? Could you have not pitched forward? If you're doing a deadlift, did your back round just a tiny bit? Did you move a little bit slow off the floor? Did you, I don't know, not put as much weight on as you wanted, or you put too much weight, or you didn't do as many reps, or whatever it may be? There's always a little something more that you can do. And that's kind of my philosophy towards those things is that I'm just nickel and diming every day with whatever I'm doing. And I do it with my teaching, I do it with my lifting, I do it with my daily life. And I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that I'm some Jesus Christ figure as far as what I can do in a day, but I know that I have gotten better from where I was when I was younger. And that's all I can do, is get better than how I was. I can't really make myself compare myself to others and what they do relative to what they do. I have to worry about what I have done relative to myself and improve to that point. Because at a certain point, you're either going to, you can look at other people, but you're either going to reach their level and surpass them, or they're so far ahead that it seems insurmountable to reach their level, whether it's lifting or whatever aspect of your life. If you're looking at yourself, you're like, I got a little better, I got a little better, I got a little better. It seems less daunting with it, because you're looking at yourself, and it's all on you. And that's the big thing I love with lifting. I love with workouts and fitness, and that it's you. It's 100% what you're doing. Unless you're doing some partner fitness thing, which I'm not, It's all dependent on what you are doing and what you choose to do every single day. So there's no umpire that's messing up the call. There's no referee that's doing whatever. There's no teammate that stinks. There's nothing that is external. Obviously, there's external factors still, but there's nothing intrinsically demanding that's intrinsic to what you're doing, if that makes any sense. There's not a teammate that you have to depend on every day. That's nice to live with people, but if the person, my friend, doesn't show up at the gym, that doesn't mean I can't lift. It's nice when he's there, but it doesn't mean I can't go and lift. And that holds true for a lot of lifting with that. But I feel like, wow, I've ranted for about 15 minutes with that. But I'm gonna stop this video here because I don't know how much more space my phone is going to allow me to have in this video, since I'm just recording this on my phone. And I'm about ready to get off the highway anyway, so it's a good time to stop with that anyway. But hopefully this video made a little bit of sense. I jumped kind of all over the place, which I tend to do when I'm in my car, since these are more just thought journals, I guess, when I'm talking to myself. It's just kind of a thought experiment, I guess you could call it. But I'm just kind of thinking through things, and at least maybe it's a somewhat interesting video. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.